Am I on? Doesn't seem like. Okay, it's upcoming. That is now. All right. Okay, there we are. I think so. Okay. All right. Excellent. Hey, thanks for jumping on the live here on the live stream. To open up and do another live stream here. It's been a little while since I've done one. If you're on here live and you can hear me loud and clear, everything's going well, just let me know in the chat. That'd be great. Thought I was having a little bit of a difficulty getting this going here. I believe we are going. So I'm going to get started here right away. Okay, what's going on? Are you still buying OG? What's OG? Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I'm not buying too much right now. It's kind of the end of the times, but yeah, today I wanted to go over a little bit of my roadmap and that of what I laid out here for the crypto checklist. So OG teddy bear, big day with rate. Yes, it's a big day in crypto for sure, and I believe that's happening right away. So we'll find out here very shortly. What the decision is, I believe we all know what the decision is anyways, right? It's just a matter of, I think it's just a matter of how much it's going to be, 0.25 or 0.5, really. Okay. Let's see. All right, excellent. So I'm going to get started here right away. We won't waste any more time. Thanks for hopping on. If you are on live, excellent. Glad you're here. If you're catching the replay, thanks. I appreciate you checking out the replay as well. Crypto, especially, if you're a beginner, I don't know how long you've been in crypto. If you're a beginner, if you're just recently starting to get into crypto, I know it can be overwhelming. I know it can be confusing at times, right? And that's why I laid out what I have here is a step-by-step beginner roadmap for getting started in crypto. All right. If you've been around a few years, you're still stumbling around, still trying to figure things all out, right? Hey, you don't get it the first year. You don't get it right away. This is something that you really got to dig into. You really got to dig in and really learn and be committed to really learning this space, learning crypto. Okay. It doesn't come overnight, and you're going to get your teeth kicked in this market. Absolutely. If you don't, well, you're just not trying hard enough. That's the way I see it, right? I know I've got my teeth kicked in this space in crypto for, I've been in it for a few years now, and so I've got my teeth kicked in. I've been bloody. I've been, and it doesn't end, right? It just, you just learn a lot more. You just learn what to do in the different situations, right? Maybe you've been around for a few years and you've got it all done. You've got it all figured out, right? Probably not the best place to be. This is the way I like to see it. If you're in that place and you think there's nothing more to learn, well, I think that's a dangerous place to be, because you've always got something to learn, right? There's always something to learn in crypto. There's always something to learn in life. Absolutely, right? So, hopefully you find some value here in what I've got here with this crypto checklist. It's a 9-step roadmap that especially for beginners to follow here, and that's why I've done this here, right? I created this checklist because early on, like I said, I failed my way through crypto. I failed my way through things in the first few years. I lost money. I still lose money here and there, but there's a little bit, what's the word for that? When I lose money, it's okay, because I have my risk management. If I'm checking out a new token or I'm getting into some new project or something like that, I understand the risk management, and I only use what I'm willing to let go in certain things. And that's why I build my portfolio in a certain way, right? In the beginning, yeah, I lost a lot. When it came to hype tokens, I lost a lot to Ponzi schemes, and so that's why I'm very careful when it comes to Ponzi schemes. When it comes to different projects in crypto, I want to be very careful, and that's why I want to also share with people on what you need to do, how you can keep yourself safe when it comes to investing and getting into different crypto projects and tokens and that. And I tell you, I created this checklist, and if you haven't got it yet, it's scrolling down here on the bottom, right? You can go and you can download this checklist yourself, right? It's a little bit different than what we're going through here, but it does include everything that we are talking about. One of the things is this: when I was why I put this together, or why I put together a lot of what I'm going through here, is because I wanted it. It's something that I needed myself. And so as I'm learning through crypto and I'm studying and I'm working my way through this space, I kind of put things together for myself. And then I compiled things together and, packaged it all up and realized that other people need to see this kind of stuff too, right? So a lot of this is coming from my story, coming from my experiences and what I learn in crypto. And that's why I'm able to share it with everybody as well. It is not that I've already made multi-millions of dollars in crypto already, right? But this is a journey that I've been going through and that I continue to go through, and that I want to share this journey with other people that care to learn, care to watch, care to join me on this journey here in crypto, right? So what we're going to go through here, I want to go through a few things here, and some of the biggest beginner mistakes, some of the biggest mistakes that I've gone through myself, and hopefully you could avoid them as well, right? There's a 9 key step to start investing in crypto so that you can start the right way. And I figured out some of these things that you can do and do the right way, because I've done them the wrong way. So now you can do them the right way, right? And a lot of it I've still been learning through these past couple of years. Well, of course, through these past few years, right? But especially really over the past couple years here, right? You've been learning, and some of the things that you figured out, like, it's not quite that way. It's a little bit more that, I made this mistake. Well, let's correct it and let's move forward this way, right? So there's some tools, some tips, just a mindset that will help you grow, right? And so if you haven't got this checklist, feel free. You can go and grab this checklist here as well. You can download the PDF. Now, all right, so most people that get into crypto, and it's absolutely the truth. This is how it is. Most people that get into crypto, or most people that get wrecked in crypto, that is, right? A lot of people get into crypto. Well, some people, kick it off right away and, have all that success, possibly. Some of them just fluke out, I think, really, and get lucky on something and get wrecked, and then learn from that, and then get better, right? I think a lot of times you have to, really, we get our teeth kicked in, we get a little bit bloody in the bloody markets and that, and we really learn from that. And those are the people that can really survive and do really well, because you're learning as you go, right? And you're learning something other than just winning a lottery type of thing, right? You're building your mindset, you're changing your financial thermostat, right? As you go through this game, and you really learn on the way. But most people that get wrecked in crypto is because a lot of the times chasing hype and meme coins. They don't really have a plan or a portfolio strategy. All right. And, even just recently, I don't know if you're on Facebook at all, or if you're, maybe I haven't, I tell you, I haven't seen a lot on, I don't want to get this. Look at this. I got a squeaky chair like crazy. Can you hear this? Right? Let's see. Yeah, on YouTube, I haven't seen it too much on YouTube right now. Right now on Facebook, there's a lot of people that are really, really excited about some green candles. Okay, certain project. We're not going to mention what it is, but there's a lot of people that are really excited about it, and they're doing really well, and they're saying it's just the beginning, it's just starting, it's just the beginning, and it's only just starting. And there's super green candles that have a few x'd up over just recently. Okay, and then you see people commenting, info, or how do I buy it? How do I buy it? Where do I get that? Right? And you're watching all these green candles, and they're watching all these percentages of everything just skyrocket and going to the moon, right? Hey, that's great. I'm excited, right? That's fantastic. I'm glad your project has done well. I'm glad it's doing well, and yeah, potentially could be keep on going and do very well, right? Absolutely. I'm not saying that it won't, right? But what I want to point out here is there are a lot of people that will get wrecked simply because, number one, if you can, if you have to comment saying, how do I buy it? Where do I buy it? How do I do this? You are obviously very, very new, okay? And you don't know how to go and buy that token. You are going to get wrecked, okay? Because you are chasing green candles. You're chasing something that is already pumped, something that is already, 5x, 10x, whatever it is. It's already, way up there. Not saying that it's not going to do another 5x, 10x, 20, who knows, especially, come euphoria. But the point is, you don't enter in at the top of green candles. That is how you get wrecked. You might not get wrecked, but chances are, potentially high potential, you will get wrecked. Okay, not even if it's not buying in at the top, but it's riding it down to the bottom too, right? So that kind of stuff does happen. So a lot of people will be chasing hype and chasing memes, and they're chasing that because everybody's posting, especially during euphoria, right? During this time right now, over the next few months, you're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of that. Posting of the green candles and posting of the great things that are happening in crypto, and with all these gains. So there's going to be a lot of people that will get wrecked that way, and it's just the nature of euphoria. It's just how things are at this time of the market. Okay, and that's why it is important that you would have a plan and that you would have a portfolio strategy, right? I learned this as well myself. Coming from the last bull market, from the last run, hey, even myself, right? I started buying into different L1 tokens, L1 blockchains and different things, even Polkadot and Avalanche and Polygon and all of these different cryptos, in Solana and all of them at the end. And then started even buying more as they were still started going down, not really understanding that it was really the top and it really was going to drop huge down to like 90, 95, 99%, right? And look, it crashed so far down that, I should have sold what I had and then waited and bought at the bottom type of thing. But like I said, I didn't know. I learned a lot of this stuff over the past cycle that way, right? And hey, sometimes we got to do that. So a lot, even with this, a lot of people are listening to influencers instead of learning, right? You need to learn. And I read a comment earlier, actually, someone says, it's about being in the right place, the right time, or knowing the right person and stuff, right? Well, to a point, I'm going to say, okay, if you know some people, someone, and someone gives you a great tip, that's great. If it's just a great tip, you still run the risk of entering into something because you don't know yourself what to do next, right? You can get a great tip, but that's all it is just a great tip, okay? Even if it's an influencer on YouTube or something that tells you about some fantastic, these tokens, these cryptos, they're going to go up, they're going to do very well. Oh, okay, well, I'll buy them. Well, why? And then they dip down. You're like, hey, I thought you said these are going to do well. Oh, I'm selling it. And you sell it at a loss, and then it goes back up. That's usually what's going to happen. Because even if you get great tips, you're in the right place at the right time, you got to know the right person, he says, buy this token, that's great. If you don't do the research, you don't have the conviction, and you can't hold on to anything. And that's why you need to have conviction when you're investing in cryptos, into an asset. If you get that hot tip and then you can go off and you can do your own research on something, that's the game. That's what you need to be able to do. So you need to know why you're holding something, right? It can't all be like I've got here now, emotion-based buying and selling. Your emotions are going to wreck you. The emotions is why people get wrecked in crypto, right? And that's what we're going to fix here right away, here today with this. Okay, so step one. Step one is we want to set our goals. We want to set some clear goals on what we're doing in crypto. What are we doing, right? Why are you here? What do you want? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to receive from crypto? What do you want to achieve in this space? What's this all about, right? Are you here for freedom, income, or quick flips, right? Your goal is going to define your strategy. And you need to know your time horizon and your risk tolerance, okay? So are you here for freedom, income, quick gains? Maybe you're here for them all, for all of the above, right? I tell you, for myself, this is the thing is, yeah, I'm here for freedom. I'm here for the income. And you see if I can get some quick gains on the way, right? But I tell you what, yes, absolutely, it's for freedom, okay? If you're in crypto, you've studied it, you study Bitcoin, you study why it was created, why we have Bitcoin, why we have blockchain, why we have this whole space, DeFi, decentralized finance, okay? It's about freedom. It's about taking back control of your finances, your money, your investments, taking back control, having control of it, and nobody can take it. If you got Bitcoin, no one can take it. No one's going to take your crypto. Well, give me your crypto, give me your keys. No, right? You can't prove that I know or that I don't know a 12-word seed phrase or anything. You can't know where it is or what it's doing or anything. There's different strategies that you could use in crypto to have privacy of your wallets, everything. And then as well, for me, as I've learned a lot over the past few years, right? And how this cycle works, how it's all really comes it's all a liquidity-based cycle, right? At the beginning, we're all told, or we learn it right away at the beginning quite often is, oh, it's a Bitcoin halving. Yeah, it's a cycle. A Bitcoin cycle, it's a crypto cycle. It goes in a few years, and it all revolves around the Bitcoin halving. But it doesn't. The Bitcoin halving is a piece of it. It's a part of it, right? But it doesn't revolve around the halving. It revolves around liquidity. Liquidity in, liquidity out, okay? And what is the liquidity? The liquidity is inflation. It's money printing. And so this is also why I believe that a person that you need to have crypto, you need to have Bitcoin, and it's the best time of buying and getting into it as well is, you see, if you have, once you understand the inflation and the debasing of the dollar, how the dollar is debased and it loses its value extremely fast, your only hedge, your only fight against that to save yourself and your family for your financial situation is to own some assets that are, it's not that it's hedged against it, but it's got that limited supply. It's a risk-on asset that's going to pump really extreme fast, extremely high with liquidity. You need to have something that's going to have those gains, that's going to receive those gains from that liquidity that's pumped into the markets, right? The dollar just loses value, and it's just, as it expands, that's what inflation is it's the expansion of the money supply. So as that goes up and loses its value, you need something that's going to go up, several X to that dollar being debased. And that there is what saves you. You can either get wrecked by inflation or you can get rich by inflation. And so I choose to get rich with inflation. Okay. Those of us that are in crypto and, investments like this, and those bigger institutions and bigger investors, this is where I learned it from, right? Quite often, we could sit back and be, oh man, dang, that government, it's going to keep on printing more money, printing more money. That's useless, man. Why do you keep printing money and losing the value of our money? We can complain about that, but secretly, as we turn around and we turn our back and we're like, cool, I can't wait for them to print more money. because when they print more money, we're going to get rich, because we understand how liquidity comes into the market. And I'm going off too far off on this, on this one point, right? But this is what I'm saying. So we understand this is why I need crypto. So that is for freedom and for income. And what is a quick flip, right? I mean, quick gains. I mean, some people that, 3 years is pretty quick, but we can make some money on our wave, right? But we got to build your portfolio in a certain way to do that, right? And, that's why I like to share this information as well on building a portfolio. So you have something that you can do that with. So step number 2, right? We got 9 steps here. Step number 2 is understanding the macro cycle. And I was already starting to get into this, right? I get pretty passionate about this. I really like this. I'm really passionate. Once I figured this out and once I seen this, you can't unsee it, right? You start to see how the whole macro picture is. You're like, wow, I can't believe this. I wish I knew this before. If I knew this 10 years ago, wow, man, this is crazy. Once you figure that out, what do I mean by that? I'm not talking about technical analysis here. I'm talking about the macro cycle. Crypto runs in a 4-year cycle, approximately, right? Now, so far, it's been working out to pretty darn, 4 years to the T for every cycle. Is this time different? This cycle going to be different than before, right? Yeah, this time's going to be different, guys. This cycle's going further. This cycle's different. It's what they said last time. Every cycle is the different cycle. This time's different. This time's different. I don't know. Nobody knows. Anybody that tells you that they know, anybody that tells you that it's going to end on a specific date, December 27th, 2025, it's done, they're lying to you. Like, what the heck? Nobody knows the date, right? Oh, this cycle, we're going further. We're going, probably Q4 of 2026. Nobody knows. Nobody knows anything, okay? But what I can say is that every cycle, every cycle, there's a huge amount of people that says that this time's different. This time's different, right? So we got to keep that in mind. The whole point is the crypto runs in about an approximately 4-year cycle. It could be just under, it could be just over the 4-year cycle. What controls it? Like I said, it's not a Bitcoin halving or anything. It is the liquidity flow. It's liquidity. It's not emotions. Okay? It's not a technical analysis. Technical analysis, that's why it works, is because it's crypto, or because trading is very psychological. So you have all kinds of different psychological levels. And it still plays a part, right? But what really controls the whole markets and everything really comes down to liquidity. It all comes down to liquidity is what it does, what happens. Okay, liquidity in, risk on assets, pump. Liquidity out, risk on assets, they crash. All right. So that's why in the bull market, you have the bull, you have the blow off top, you have the bear, you have accumulation, and then it repeats. It keeps on repeating over and over and over again. Right. Yeah. So that's really what it comes down to. So the whole point is, okay, well, if it's not like to a T when it comes to, specific timing and everything like that, how do we know? Where are we? What are we looking at? Right? Well, we're looking at macro signals. That's how we time our entries and our exits. We want to understand the macro. And when we understand the macro signals, then we can master the cycle. Then we could really understand things, and then we don't have to get so emotional about things and react to the market, react to fear, react to euphoria, react to all of that. If you're holding conviction assets, it doesn't matter what's happening. When you understand the macro signals and you understand where we are in things, you could hold a conviction asset that you have conviction in and just buy more or something like that. But if you're reacting to the market with emotions, well, that's going to wreck you, right? So that's why you need to understand what the signals are. Now, the next step is conviction-based portfolio, right? Like I mentioned, then you can hold it. So you got to build a conviction-based portfolio. So when you understand, this is what I mean. You gotta understand all of these steps. You gotta understand these 9 steps. Download the checklist, right? So that you've got this type of stuff. And it's a free checklist. But here's the conviction-based portfolio. Here's how it works, right? And you know, I didn't have this before. This is why I say this is something that I wish I had, and I really understood this before when I got started. But you can't know everything when you start, right? And who do you trust, right? So a conviction-based portfolio. I put something together like this where it includes these 3 different colors. I've got a green, yellow, and red for my portfolio, for a basket, for my buckets. I call them buckets, right? Layers of your portfolio. Green layer, yellow layer, red layer, or buckets. Really, like, you know, buckets, because the green bucket, this is your core bucket. You know, I also like to have it's kind of like 2 different levels of your green bucket. Okay, I'll let you know this right away here. I'll let you know this, and I share this more in my book actually. But there's kind of like 2 layers to your green bucket, right? So the green bucket, it's your core, but it's also your anchor. All right, so your anchor and then your core. So your anchor is things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Anchor that anchors you. And here's something that I learned, right, myself, is I didn't have too much of an anchor even coming in this cycle. All right, I front run the altcoins way too much, right? Too heavy. I didn't have this anchor. I had a little bit of an anchor, but then I kind of sold it too, even too early, right? Where I should be sitting on a lot of anchor still. So anchor is Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then as well, within this green bucket, you've got some other really top, solid, foundational cryptos, altcoins that you have really, really, really high conviction in. But not only that you have high conviction, but they are cryptos that have proven themselves to survive bear markets and bull markets, both of them, the whole market cycle. All right, this is your anchor and your core crypto. You have this set up, then you're doing well. And then you can move into your yellow bucket, which is your mid cap conviction alts. These are altcoins. They're not anchors. Like your green bucket, you're not going to see a lot of huge movement in your green bucket, right? It's not going to be huge movement, huge, you know, multiple X gains where you're going to, you know, you're going to the moon and you know what I'm saying, right? You're not going to get those huge 10x, 20, 50, 100x type of stuff. You're not buying your rocket ship. You're not getting Lambos there anymore, right? You're not going to, if you're going to buy Bitcoin, you're not getting a Lambo, right? It's type of mentality, type of thing, right? Your yellow bucket now, these ones here, high conviction altcoins, mid cap altcoins, they have the potential to do very, very, very well. Here you can see some 10, 20, 50x's, you know, 100x even with these. These are altcoins that you know, have that huge potential to do very, very well, but they're also very solid cryptos, right? They've got great utility, great community. They have everything that you need in them in these altcoins, right? This is where you're going to get stuff like, you know, I consider myself like PLS from Pulse Chain, PLSX, the Pulse X, right? Hex. You're going to get, you know, AVAX even. You're going to, there's a whole GRT and Render and different things like this. This is where I'm putting these type of tokens in the yellow bucket, right? That's what I do, right? Now maybe you say, well, you know what? No, I'm putting Pulse Chain, I'm putting Pulse X, I'm putting these all in my green bucket. Hey, that's your choice, right? You can do that if you want. It's all personal conviction as well when it comes to building a portfolio. But really, I mean, you gotta. This is things. I mean, it's up to you, right? But you got to build a portfolio out this way. Now, red. Now, this is complete lottery, right? Red is your high risk moonshots. These are the ones like, hey, maybe I'm going to get 1,000x. Maybe I'm going to get 100x. You can get 100x in your yellow as well, a yellow bucket, but they're more solid there. All right, red. This is a bucket that for example, you're going to put like maybe 0.1% of your portfolio in one token, okay? Or maybe you're going to throw a $20 in there, or $50, whatever your risk tolerance is. But when you throw that into a token in the red bucket, that's like kissing it goodbye. It's gone. You don't need it anymore, right? You're going down to the corner store, to the store, and the lotto booth or whatever, and you're going to buy yourself a scratch ticket. Right? You buy your, a few bucks on a lottery ticket or one of those scratch things, and you're like, okay, you bought it. It's like you scratch, you're like, oh, I didn't win. You don't go and cry. You know what I'm saying? I don't buy those tickets. I don't buy the lottery. Instead, I buy a moonshot in crypto. That's what I do, and that's it. That's the attitude you got to have. Some people come into crypto, and that's where they put their money, is on some dog coin, some meme coin, dog coin in the red bucket. It's got no utility, absolutely nothing. And I know, hey, I understand what you're saying here. What utilities in crypto? I mean, it's not about utility. It's not about the use cases and all that. Yeah, right, to a point, right? But to a point, right? Because we still look at that. We still consider that. Okay, but I'm talking about in the red bucket, you got absolutely nothing. Like, these things can go to zero the very first day. Right? And that's how that is. So you got to have that attitude with that. Okay. And then let's see here. Wow, 30 minutes into this. Okay, so step number 4 is your dollar cost averaging, right? DCA. You probably heard this quite a bit. DCA, this DCA, dollar cost average, right? Okay. Well, what does it mean? If you don't understand, it means that you're going to buy in small chunks over time. All right. You're going to decide on a little bit that you're going to buy. Maybe you're going to buy $20 a week. On every Friday, you're going to buy $20 worth of crypto every single week. Maybe it's $100 every week. Whatever it is, you're going to set a little bit amount, and you're going to buy it every single week. If you got a job, you're buying it. $30 from your paycheck goes into crypto, right? Every Friday, and that's what DCAing is. And so you'll hear that quite often. And I believe there's still a strategy to this. Okay. You can't just DCA and that's it. This is the way I see it now. Okay. There's a time to DCA and there's a time not to DCA. You want to avoid trying to perfectly time the market, but you also want to be able to, and stay consistent too, right? But you also want to do it at the right time. What do I mean by that is this. If you're just getting into crypto right now and you hear this strategy of just DCA, okay? Well, it depends. I mean, you want to have a long-term plan, strategy, and outlook on things, right? However, you also need to understand the macro, the market cycle, and where we are, right? But if you come in and you just start DCAing now, or maybe even if you came in like a year or 2 years ago and you're still DCAing, and you go, okay, just come in and just keep buying Bitcoin. You're buying Bitcoin, or whatever you're buying at the end of the market cycle, and you're just going to keep DCAing, and you DCA to the top. What is DCAing doing? You dollar cost average, and it gives you an average price. So if you're buying with DCA, you're buying up here, you're buying down here, buying up here, buying down here. Where's your price? Right in the middle. Okay. So if you DCA all the way up to the top of the market cycle of the whole of the market, where is your average price? The top. You average your cost to the top of the market, to the top of the price of that token. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to be DCAing at the end of the market. You want to be doing this throughout the bear market, throughout the range, through what's called the accumulation phase. So you just DCA just like this. And then there comes a time where you're going to stop so that your investment can gain its value, or gain, right? And then you could start pulling profits out of that. Well, I want to be in crypto for the next 5, 6, 7, or 10 years or so, right? That's great. Absolutely. Here's a better strategy. Yeah, you plan on that, but also plan on buying. If, like right now, someone's going to ask me, oh, I want to get into crypto, and they do. And I do say this right now is, okay, I'm going to come into crypto. What should I buy? Should I buy Bitcoin? I was here. Yeah, just buy Bitcoin. I should buy some Bitcoin. Have my anchor. Yeah, have your anchor. Should you come in and buy Bitcoin right now? I'm going to say no. right? And I may be contrarian, and there maybe you're watching, maybe you're listening, maybe you say, what do you say that's something like that for? Don't buy Bitcoin right now. No. Why would you do that? Oh, it's going to $1 million. You know what? That's what I'm saying. It's the same every cycle. This cycle's different. We're going to keep on going. It's going to keep on. Man, I don't, it's going to crash. When do you start buying? When it's at least minus 50% retracement. When we're crashing down in the bear market, wait till then. Right now, no. I tell people straight up, you want to come in, you start building, you want to start DCing, you want to start buying assets right now. You want to buy Bitcoin? Not now. I have a 10-year approach. Great. Well, why start buying now when it's going to drop down and you can start buying then, right? That's the whole point. Whether you have a long-term 10-year approach or not, why buy at the top if you're just getting in, and then you can, unless you're Michael Saylor or something like that, I don't know, but you might as well wait for the dip, wait for the crash, wait for the accumulation phase, wait for the smart money, be as part of the smart money and enter at that time. Is what you want to do, right? So you want to secure your assets, right? This is very important. Very important. Because so many will lose their crypto, lose your money. And I know people, and I personally know people that have lost crypto because of a stupid mistake that could have been avoided. All right? It could have been avoided. Hey, if it happens, it happened to you, mistakes happen. Learn from it now and move forward. All right, and I've seen and I've heard other people that are other YouTubers, other people in crypto that have large portfolios. Not too long ago I was watching one guy, and he was sharing that he made a mistake and he lost over like $100,000 worth of crypto because someone got his seed phrase. Right now, I think that was, that's quite a bit, that's quite a bit of money for a lot of people, but probably, and he even did say this, but it's a good thing I had the majority of mine over in some of my hard wallets. So in other words, you see, even that 100 grand was probably not, he's been in it for a long time. So even 100 grand, people have, maybe they've got a couple million or so in crypto, and that's only 5 or 10%, 5% of 10% of what their whole bag of everything that they have. But still, like I said, that's a large amount for some people. Some people, if you lose 5 grand and if it's all of it, then that sucks, right? If you're new, okay? But if you don't secure it in a hardware wallet, right, then this kind of stuff could happen. Easy mistakes. I know people that have hardware wallets, but they just don't use them. It's like, what's the matter, man? Like you've got them, use them. Like I use them. I've got hardware wallets that I use, and I like Trezor. I like to use it. It's really simple. Yeah, but I need to use MetaMask and Ravi, and I need to use these wallets. I'm starting to get on these DEXs and stuff. Great. You could use those wallets as well. You just connect it to your MetaMask, and you use your MetaMask or your Ravi or your Internet Money wallet, whatever it is you're using, but your keys are in your hardware wallet. So that's one thing that you really got to do, is use a hardware wallet to keep your seed phrase and your private key safe. Right? And don't store it anywhere, on your phone, your computer, anywhere like that, on a piece of paper, locked away somewhere, buried in the ground. You got, the GPS coordinates. I don't know, whatever it is that you got to do to keep that safe, right? Secure your assets, right? Maybe it's like, well, I've only got 5 grand, or I only got $500 worth. Yeah, but sometimes those tokens that turn $500 worth of tokens could turn into $50,000 worth of tokens. So those just don't think like that, right? You want to keep a portfolio tracker. You want to watch what you're doing. You want to watch what you have. You want to track what you have. If you don't track what you have, you can't increase. You're not going to grow with what you're not tracking. Keep an eye on what you have, right? Use online trackers, okay? You want to know how much you invested. You want to know where it is, what it is. You want to know what your break-even prices are. You want to know, where you want to take, so that you can plan your profit taking. Okay, that's what you want to be able to do. You could use, it really helps with your emotions too, right? You keep things down. You can use like CoinGecko, portfolio tracker right there. I know what it does. If there's a lot of new tokens, a lot of different things that are not on those ranking sites, it's not going to have it. Okay, CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, you could use those. You could also use a spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet. I created a spreadsheet with my green, yellow, and red buckets as well. And so I created a spreadsheet that I've got it listed on my website as well, right? But I have this spreadsheet that I use, and I also use like CoinGecko, right? So I use them both. Okay, I use do things that way, but primarily I like to use the spreadsheet, and then I get to print it off, right? That's what I like to do. You find something that works for you. You want to track your portfolio. You want to track what you're doing. That's what you want to do. Okay, it really helps if you're tracking your portfolio. You want to be able to research your projects before you start jumping into crypto, into a certain project, right? You don't want to buy from FOMO. You don't want to buy from like TikTok, it's like you get someone doing these shorts, and it's just go over to TikTok and you'll see what I mean, right? Someone comes on there, they got a 15-second video about a token or a meme coin that you should buy right away. Okay. Okay, you can get that. Oh, I had never heard of that dog coin. Okay, now you go to step one here and you start to research it. Okay, that's what you want to do. You want to understand things like tokenomics, the use case, the timing, the community. You want to understand different points of doing research. Look into everything. Okay, you want to have conviction, because if you just buy something because somebody tells you about it, you don't have conviction on that. Once it drops, your emotions start to take over. You don't know why you're holding it. You're not going to hold it. You're going to sell it. It's gone, and then you're going to lose, and then it's going to go back up. You see those memes? You see these memes that out there online all the time, right? This is me when I sell, whoosh, goes up. This is me when I buy, whoosh, it goes down, right? And it's true, because the reason why that happens is because you don't understand. You bought after top green and candles, and then it came back and retraced, right? And then you sold it, and then it went back up. It's easy once you understand that. You got to understand that. You got to understand how to do the research before you're buying things. That's why I said, don't buy off the FOMO. Don't buy off someone telling you on Facebook about all these green candles and all these percentages. It's still early, guys. You going to keep on sleeping on this? Yeah, I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to sleep on it and do some research and make sure I make the right decision. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, it's at the top. It just did a 6x. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until it crashes and the market tells me they have no interest in it, but I see that there's huge value and it's undervalued. That's when I'm going to buy it, right? That's what I want to do. Okay. So make sure you understand what you're doing and do some research before you ape into any crypto. You want to have a long-term mindset, right? And like I said, when it comes to having a long-term mindset, it's not about DCing at the top of the market, okay, and saying, well, I'm going to hold it for 10 years. I mean, if you're go ahead, right? I'm not going to, but there's a smarter way of doing things. Having a long-term mindset really means, what I mean is, like, it's not a lottery ticket unless you're buying the moonshots, right? Your red bucket, those are lottery tickets in your red bucket. Those are lottery tickets. But when you build your portfolio out correctly, you start to understand that, man, we've got something real here. Okay? Crypto, you've got something real. We can really build something here and not just treat it like a lottery ticket. So we're going to have a long-term mindset by having patience, conviction, no hype, no panic. We want to research. We want to study. We want to learn crypto. We want to really understand things, what we're looking for. We, like myself, over the past few years, I I'm awake, I sleep, I dream, I eat, I drink, everything crypto, man. It's just like, this is all I talk about. It's all I think about at times, and I just like, wow, I'm just focusing. And it's like, I go and I buy all these books and I buy all the, develop a passion for something and then continue to study it and plan that this is going to be a long term. Okay. Also meaning this, that, okay, what if you can make some good gains this market cycle? Right now, we still have plenty of opportunity. There's a lot of good stuff that is undervalued. It is dirt cheap and it's undervalued. And we could see, you can come in now and do very well with some huge gains, cash them out, right? And then, in a year from now, take that and then multiply that even greater, because you can take those gains. That's what I also mean by a long-term mindset, is taking now one gains from this cycle into the next cycle and compounding by cycle, not just DCAing for the next 10 years, but compound your cycles. Understand, if you start to learn right away that it's a macro liquidity cycle, you can compound the cycles and do extremely well that way. If that, that's what I mean too. Have a long-term mindset that you're not going to just get rich overnight that way. Okay. Plug into a good community. Find mentors, find people that are with trustworthy resources, right? Don't just plug in, don't just like follow hype. Okay. And what I mean by especially even, when you're watching videos, watching content, devouring content on crypto, and you don't just go look for content that's going to tell you the next moonshot. Oh, I want to know what the next 100x is, right? What's the next meme coin? What's the next this one? What should I buy? What's that way? You're trying to skip. You're trying to cut corners that way. If you're finding a good community, if it's just about, get into my Telegram group, get in, and I'm going to tell you the next one that's going to do 10x. We're going to jump in. It's like a pump and dumps. That's no good. You don't want that. You want to find a community that's going to teach you, that you're going to learn from, that you're going to be able to increase your knowledge, right? Wisdom's greater than all gold and silver, right? When you have a wisdom, because with the wisdom comes everything. You'll be able to earn it even more, make it even greater. Okay. So find a community that's a solid community that's there and about teaching you, helping you grow in this space. That's what you want to do. Okay. Like I said, not just an echo chamber of hype, not just people that are hyping up something, hyping up the latest meme coin or something like that. Right. Join the communities that support learning and growth. You want to grow yourself in crypto over the next several years is what you want to do. Okay. So what's my full strategy? Like I said, I've gone through the ups and downs. I've gone through getting my teeth kicked in. I've gone through, bloody bear markets. Even myself, why can I share this? How can I share this? Why can I say things like this? You're going to buy at the top, or you're going to get wrecked in doing it this way. It's like, and one of the things is you're really going to get wrecked if you're selling at the bottom too. So one of the mistakes and one of the things that I learned a big lesson from as well is, I did buy a lot of it at the top, of the last bull market cycle. Like I said at the beginning, I bought AVAX and Chainlink and, Polkadot even, and Solana and different things like this, right? And started buying at the top, and it crashed. And this cycle's different. We're going an extra year. We're going to Q3. Right? Oh no, ETH's going to 10 grand. Bitcoin's going to $100,000. This was last cycle. So we're not even close to being over then yet. I mean, you can still do very well with Ethereum. It's only 4 grand. It's only 4.5 type of thing, right? Yeah, but it started that cycle at $100 or so, a couple $100, you guys. It already did very well. So even myself, I started buying a lot of that even at the top, and had the DCA all the way to the bottom, and throughout the bottom all the way till now type of thing. Well, not till now DCAing, but I mean, waiting till now this cycle. Okay. So I learned a lot of that. I learned a lot of those mistakes. I learned a lot through that. Right. And, I've got this book. So how did this come about? Right. And I want to learn this cycle. And so like I said, I didn't become a millionaire already, a multimillionaire in crypto. But what I've done is I started following people that really taught, like I said, you find a community, you find people that you're following, and you learn. And I learned the macro liquidity cycle. I learned how everything's are working. And it's like, okay, well, you know what? What are some of the different, I need to know more better about what the top signals are, right? Well, I start researching, I start putting things together for these top signals in the market and what I need to look for, what I want to do. And I keep making my plan about things. So I'm researching this. I'm researching things. I'm putting things together. Well, what about re-entry? What about all this? What about building a portfolio? I'm researching and I'm putting all this together for myself. And as I'm doing this, well, dude, I'm just packaging up a product. So then I created this and I made this available for other people. Yeah, I made it for myself first, right? A lot of this. And that's why, so when you look at this, right? That's what I'm talking about. So, I mean, let me share this with you, right? So this is how I'm doing this. And then, so look at this. This is what I got in here. I've got lots of, visuals. I got my checklist. I got all the different signals for the macro top signals. I lay it all out here in text, and I got, like the market sentiment traffic light system on different signals that are flashing, how many are flashing, when I take profits, as well as, so it's not just on price levels, but it's what are the signals in the market. The market is what tells me. It's an extended cycle. We're going to keep on going. Well, that's fine. We could. But if the market tells me different, the market signals are different, right? Different things that are happening. The dollar index, the Dixie, the rate cuts, the rate increases, the rate quantitative tightening, quantitative easing, right? The NUPL, net profit loss, unrealized loss, that is net profit unrealized loss. If I'm looking at different things like that, the fear and greed, all kinds of different things are telling me different than what you're saying that we're going for another year. Well, I know what I'm doing. I know what signals I'm looking for. I put it all together, right? And so that's why I put this together like this, where I got these, visuals and with the diagrams and all of this stuff for macro top signals, re-entry, portfolio creation, all of this. So I put this all together, and that's my strategy, and that's why I did that. So that's available, and I think this is pretty dirt cheap as well, right? So you can get it, on the website if you want to grab my full strategy. You can grab it. I got a link. You can grab it on Amazon if you want. If you want the actual book, I like actual books, right? And I like it this way, as well as PDF, right? So you can do it that way. I've got them both versions, right? If you're, I don't know, wherever you are in the world and you can't get the actual book, if you want the actual book, if you just want the PDF, you can do it that way. So where am I? Right here. Okay, yeah. So that's why I say. So learn how to position early. You'll understand the macro top signals, re-entry signals, right? So it's the full cycle, is what it is. It's the full cycle. What I've got listed. Hold on here. Okay, what I got listed here in the book, right? And building up conviction-based portfolio. Okay. So yeah, if anything, you haven't grabbed yet this free crypto checklist, grab the crypto checklist. It's a free checklist. What we just went through here on PDF. I kind of went through things a little bit in detail. Kind of spent a lot of time going through it this way. Hope you found value with this, right? That's about it, right? That's what I got here for you. This is the 9-step process for the crypto checklist. Anything else you wanted to, any questions or anything like that, if you wanted to grab them or here in the chat. Hey, Richard Hart, Max. So let's see here. Things are going well. Thanks for asking. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for checking out the live. Glad you're here. And yeah, absolutely. So then we've got, like earlier you were asking here, they were mentioning a big day with the rate cut. So now it's 1 o'clock my time. What was the time they were supposed to be doing that? Right about now, right within the past, I don't know, past hour or something like that. I'm sure he did it. But I need to check. I think we all know what the result is. That there's cuts, right? There was cuts, whether it's 2.5 or 0.25 or 0.50, who knows? Are we going to the moon today? I don't know. This is quite a week, right? Nobody knows what's happening, but yeah, I think now is the time when things are really gonna happen, right? I mean, we've been waiting for a long time for this. Yeah. So, is it the end? Is it the beginning? This is what I was thinking. I think it's the beginning of the end type of thing when it comes to these rate cuts. You know, we don't normally. It's not the end. It's not the top, but things are kind of how do you say that? Shifted that way, right? It's the beginning of the end type of thing, right? They're going to cut rates, and eventually, I mean, they're going to start to increase the rates, and that's when liquidity really dries up. But there's a time period, right? So the rate cuts, I think things could go really quite explosive, really fast, and then just as fast as they go up, just go crashing down like they have in every other cycle. And then a time period after that, a little while later, then they start to increase rates again. By the time that's happened, I think the market's already dumped. That's kind of what I mean by that. It's what it's going to happen. So it's at the beginning of the end. It's like it could happen very fast. It's like, man, what could happen over the next couple of months? Like, if it's going to end right away, then shouldn't we be a lot higher with some of our holdings that we're holding in our portfolio? Yeah, it should be. Hopefully, we would think that, but really things can happen really, really fast still. Yeah. So who knows? That's what I think. When I'm looking at things, it's like, man, I just feel like this is too unrealistic. Sometimes like, man, I don't want to get my hopes up too much. But I really think, why would this cycle be different as far as, well, we're not even going to see the return of the all-time highs as what they were before. I don't think so. I don't think so. Why would it be different? Why would we not even return to the previous all-time highs of certain cryptos, like, for example, Chainlink, Ethereum? Well, Ethereum's there now, right? But like Chainlink and AVAX and all these other ones. So none of them, no, they're not going back to the all-time high and then carrying on further. Why would you say that? Well, here's one of the things, and then I've asked this question even myself, right? Is, the last couple of cycles, I'm just throwing out my thoughts here too, right? By the way, okay? None of this is financial advice. None of this is, what I actually, or what is actually going to happen or anything like that. But here's something that I was thinking is, as I was tossing out these questions too, right? Was, well, previous market cycles, there was like a lot less for altcoins, okay? So this cycle, okay, there's thousands of altcoins now. So that market cap for like the others, whether it be the total 3 or the others market cap, like now we look at it and like we've got thousands and thousands more than even 2021. So how is the whole market cap going to just explode like it always did? Everything's spread out. Yes, true, right? But check this out. There's thousands, and a lot of them are still counted, but a lot of them are dead within an hour, or the first day, or even within an hour of them launching a token. Because every hour there's dozens, there's lots of, depending what chain you're on, there's lots of new tokens launched every single hour. But how many of those survive? How many of those are still around? How many tokens that were launched last week are still here? Yeah, they're still listed, but it's a dead token. It's got zero liquidity. It's garbage. It means absolutely nothing, but it's taking up a number in that whole ranking of tokens out there. You know what I'm saying, right? So you have thousands of just dead tokens that mean nothing. Okay, so that's why. Yeah, there's thousands of new tokens, but it's also spread out. So will we get that pump in a lot of them? Well, not in all that garbage, but in the select top good cryptos, you will, but you're not going to get it in on all that garbage. And a lot of that garbage that doesn't even count, right? It doesn't even count. So yeah, there's thousands more, but a lot of them, a lot of those thousands of tokens don't even count. They're not even part of the equation anymore. That's the way I see it. But it'll be interesting to see how things really turn out over the next few months. And if we do go into 2026, first quarter, second quarter, this is what, you know, this is how you got to think of it this way, is this. That's your moonbag territory, right? Depends how hard, how fast, how high we really go, right? If I'm holding a high conviction token, right, and it doesn't move, well, then it doesn't move. It didn't do anything, right? I'm not dumping it. I'm not getting rid of it. But then we're carrying on, right? But if I have something that's done very well, you got to pull your profits. You got to take your profits. And as we go into an extended cycle, that extended cycle that we're going into, that has to be what you're holding as a moonbag, that you are okay, that it's gone. But it's a moonbag that you're holding for that extended cycle, right? And that's the way I see it. It's like you gotta treat it like it's not an extended cycle, but be prepared for if it does go to an extended cycle. Again, that's where the macro signals come in. The macro strategy, reading the market with the macro liquidity, understanding all these signals. If you've got all these signals that are happening, then you've already pulled all kinds of profit, right? And that's kind of like, that's how I list it. That's how I play it with what I got in here, right? Like when it comes to like, let's see here. Yeah, like here we go. Like in chapter 5, right? I talk about this exit strategy, right? You know, so I talk about, you know, look, okay, my macro top signals list, right? And then I've got, let's see here. So it's like, for example, if 2 or 3 signals are flashing, right? Then I've got a certain percentage of your portfolio that I'm selling and rotating out. If 3 or 4 signals are flashing, then you got a higher percentage. 5, 6 signals, you know, you're pulling out a lot more. If you're at 9 signals, well, you should probably have about 90-95% of your portfolio out at 9, 8 or 9 signals that are flashing macro signals. Like, how many more do you need, right? Once you've got that many signals that are flashing, you should have pulled out your profit. You could either rotate, if you think that it's going to be, you know, carrying on further, then you can start rotating into like Bitcoin as well, right? You know, like, so I got that rate, you know, like this, a strategy, right? I talk about that here, right? Going into stable coins and Bitcoin, right? Rotating out that way. If it's not crashing, then that's what you can do. You can hold it that way. Personally, myself, still though, like I said before, is I don't really want to be rotating, or I don't really want to be putting too much into stuff like Bitcoin in that until I see a better opportunity, right? 50%, 50%. Could it drop still 70%, 80%? It can. I think, yes, every cycle that goes on, this is from me, from my learning, right, guys? Okay. As I studied by looking at the previous chart, looking at the past few market cycles and looking how it went, and understanding that it's liquidity that comes in and liquidity that goes out. Yeah, I believe that every, and also, yes, okay, the Bitcoin halving takes a play with this as far as the rewards, okay? The inflation goes down, and the amount of people that are holding it, okay? So therefore, the diminishing returns becomes true, where your loss or your retracement in the whole market is becoming less and less every market cycle. It's becoming more solid, more of an asset that you could hold, and really keep your store of value that way. I think that's really what I see. Okay, so what that means is eventually you're not going to have a huge drop of 70-80% in Bitcoin. Maybe you only get 70%, maybe you only get 60%, right? That's why I say if it drops 50%, you're in a good zone to start to DCA. Because if it keeps on dropping down further to 70%, it's only 20% more, and you're DCAing in at those levels, those zones, right? And that's a good time. But if you're wanting DCA and it only drops down like 10%, 20%, I still believe that Bitcoin still will drop 50%. So why not wait? That's what I see. That's my personal opinion on that, right? Now you could think otherwise and think, well, no, it's not going to drop. It's just going to keep on going up. Well, I don't think so. I think that yes, every cycle we're still going to see that drop. Okay, that's the way I see it. But yeah. So hey, if you found any value at all in this, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you let me know what your thoughts are. Drop me some comments in that. I'm going to end this stream, and we'll do it again. So let me know what your thoughts are, what you think here down below. Have a great day.